Jumping is one of the most impressive feats known to man. Athletes who can soar in the air and bounce from the ground are among the most athletic in the world. Jumping requires strength, power, and explosiveness, which tend to fade as we age. This quality can literally slow down your aging process. There's a form of jumping that's maybe the most impressive that is relatively unknown. That's because it's not found on ESPN. It's found in the streets. The precision jump, predominantly used in parkour, involves leaping from one object and landing on another. It's impressive enough to leap 15 feet through the air. It's something else entirely to land on an object and stick the landing. Today, we meet up with one of the best precision jumpers in the world, Max Henry. He's practiced parkour for 20 years and was drawn to the accuracy side of things. But accuracy isn't the only thing he's good at. The dude is massively strong and powerful. He's competed in Red Bull Parkour Invitationals. He even wrote a book on it. Now guys, don't let the parkour scare you off here. We told Max for this video to be relatable to our audience, we want to answer one question. How do we get better at jumping? And he delivered. He gave us a program to increase our max broad jump that I actually followed for 6 weeks. And guess what? I increased my broad jump by a foot, and I had already been working on jumping for quite some time.
9.1.5.
And through increasing my jumping ability, my body feels amazing, like I reclaimed some of my youthful athleticism I had lost.
Let's go. 10-1.
At the end of our session with Max, he asked us if we wanted to take our new jumping tips and techniques to the streets to see if we could do an 8.5-foot jump over a 20-foot drop.
How's it look standing?
Looks pick.
Okay, the precision jump, jumping from one object to another, first requires good jumping technique. Here's what Max taught us.
The first thing is like how fast you're swinging your arms. Getting a really explosive arm swing, for a lot of people, will get them an extra inch or 2 inches.
Yeah.
I also want to think about making sure that I'm not swinging my arms really fast, but that they're loose. So I'm making sure I'm keeping tension kind of through my whole body, almost like if you were doing a muscle up. I would just think like fast arm swing, tension through your whole torso.
This arm swinging technique was groundbreaking for me. Learning to use the whole body rather than just raw power is true athleticism.
Thanks, dude. The other thing I'll think about is kind of how fast I'm loading in my hip. Speed and balance from like a performance and technique perspective are probably like the 2 key things. So I'm gonna just think like going at a speed that feels fast but isn't insane, and staying balanced on top of my feet, going all the way through my hands, right? And just really like getting that full extension.
The idea of balance came up a lot, which is something I think we can learn uniquely from parkour. Having incredible awareness over your center of gravity allows you to actually create more force in the right direction. When you feel balanced in the body, there's this feeling of lightness, which you can see in all high-level athletes.
Oh, so good.
So if you're at home thinking, cool and all, but why is jumping box to box so important? We asked.
Really quick, for someone who's at home and maybe like wants to do this in their backyard, you don't necessarily need these targets, right?
Having a target, the only nice thing about it, you get a little bit more of that like brain engagement.
Yeah.
Because you know if you mess up, there's a consequence. But if you're honest with yourself, like you can just do some sidewalk chalk and do the same thing, and then you have like an objective thing that you know you're hitting or missing.
Right.
And when you're ready, a curb also, because you want to use
The full ankle
this thing, this rolling tech, like you'll learn how to roll your jump on top of the obstacle a little bit.
Now, Brandon brings up the topic of landing, which we'll get to in a sec, but to introduce him, Brandon Douglas is an extremely talented parkour athlete from Denver, who's also good buddies with Max. He's got this really cool, animalistic, bouncy style of parkour. Max even told us Brandon has done some scary things he'd never try. You'll see him casually doing some crazy stuff throughout this video. Okay, back to landing. Brandon and Max told us that their secret to getting incredibly good at jumping is actually learning how to land really well, but not for the reasons you'd expect. Even if you're not interested in parkour, learning how to land well will give you the ability to jump more often with more power because the landings will take less of a toll on your body. Let's hear what he has to say.
You know, the limiting factor for a lot of people with plyometrics is how their body feels the next day.
Yeah.
And that's because so many people either aren't focused on the landing or just don't even know to focus on the landing. They're thinking about just output.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, a great example, right, is like people do depth drops and like drop jumps all the time.
Yeah.
And the difference between somebody who has no landing practice doing that,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I just felt that in my spine,
Yeah.
my butt crack, yeah. Versus if I'm doing the same thing and thinking about being plyometric out of it and soft,
Yeah.
I could do that for an hour. My goal for you guys from like a power development perspective, let's get the volume hack,
Yeah.
and then that way you can do the same amount of work or more and feel way better afterwards.
Yeah.
The key is like you always want to land on the ball of your foot, and that is just so that when you're landing, you have ankle mobility. If you're landing here and something happens, you don't have a joint that's flexing to help you deal with that force. So people feel like, oh, if I land here, I'm stable. But if anything does go wrong, now it's like your knee, the ankle joint itself that's compensating, as opposed to actually using the bounce and the range of motion that's in that bottom joint.
And just like in the takeoff, the arms play a big role in landing as well. Getting the arms back mid-air prepares you for your landing or for your next movement.
With the arms though,
Yeah.
you guys both like land like beautifully with your arms like right here, and then you're ready to go.
That is, I was actually just going to mention that when you brought up the arms. It's like you learn the landing position is like arms back. And the earlier in the air that I get my arms back, typically the better.
Okay.
I mean, you want them back before your sort of like peak of your arc, I would say.
As he was talking about using his ankles and landing, he mentioned that he really values barefoot training. This really intrigued us because we know the power of barefoot training in general, but we'd never tried it with jumping. Max told us that this keeps you honest with your foot placement and landing.
Honestly, often back here, I'll warm up barefoot. Think about the difference between balancing here where my foot is flat, and I can feel my foot moving a little bit, but it's basically nothing. And then just move your foot to the end. And it's like how much more things are happening there. That's just a good way to kind of feel like, oh, yeah, there's a lot going on in my foot, in my ankle, in my arch. I mean, there's so many like little bones and muscles in your foot that I'll say like your ankle joint, really it's like the Lis Frank, like the whole structure of your foot is doing a lot of work to stabilize and absorb.
Yeah. Dude,
When
this is gold because
Right
I
here.
mean, so many people are training foot stability, ankle stability like this, which is good.
Yep.
Yeah.
But like to take it here, I mean,
Yeah.
the way that changes like what's going on in my foot right here and my ankle
Yeah.
is amazing.
If I was gonna go here and jump or sprint, like I need to load my ankle anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's practice that position where it's loaded, and then you're ready to go when you land. You're not like, okay.
Yeah.
The most common way for us casual gym goers to practice jumping is with box jumps. We noticed how this technique seems very different, so we asked him about it.
I think box jumps though, like, you know, that's the end of the movement. If I was doing that landing here, right, I'd be kind of like trying to come down on top of it, land in a full squat because I'm maxing out my distance.
Yep.
And then that's like a really limiting range.
Yeah.
And if I'm doing
that's
that
done.
from like an 8-foot bar down here, that's not gonna be fun on my body. The main difference is that like with box jumps, you have like a technique for a specific use case. We're kind of trying to develop like a landing template that I could apply to any situation.
Speaking of applying to any situation, raw standing jumping power is cool, but to truly bridge the gap between that and the athleticism it takes to actually use that power in sports is plyometrics. And in this context, it means using the natural spring-like elasticity your body has to actually generate even more power. This has incredible carryover to any sport or hobby that requires sprinting, jumping, or changing direction.
The one spot where parkour does really help, you know, the plyometric work we're doing, you can cover this distance by adding in something to get there, right?
Okay,
So I'm gonna do the plyo and see how much easier that extra momentum makes it for me to cover the distance.
Okay, wow.
This was the part of the day where I started to realize the utility that this basic parkour training style has. You can create these small challenges for yourself that not only bring you tons of physiological adaptations, but it's truly fun, even exhilarating. What more could you ask for?
Oh,
Yeah.
so clean.
Oh,
Super good.
Nice.
So after spending a few hours with Max and Brandon, I was really impressed seeing them do big jumps to land on rails, or simply how they could string together these powerful movements so effortlessly. I had one big question on my mind. How can I actually train at home to develop this jumping ability? Okay, spoiler alert. I mentioned how at the end of the day, they took us to a really big jump with a big fall, and I didn't even attempt it. My knee was hurting, and honestly, I just didn't feel very confident. But luckily, I asked Max for a training program. Another spoiler alert, we actually shot this video a couple months ago, and I did the training program since then. I increased my broad jump by a foot,
91.5.
which, for anyone who knows how slowly the body changes, this is insane.
Let's go. 10-1.
And later, I went back and did the jump myself.
Yeah.
And after a few attempts, I even was able to stick the landing. But stay tuned to see if Josh does it the first day. Here's the program Max gave us.
So if you're going to design a program for someone like me who has a bit of experience with jumping, but not a lot, and I wanted to increase my broad jump, like what would you do?
Day one, 60 to 70%. We're doing those depth drops. So dropping off something, vertical jump.
Okay, some of these exercises he had explained earlier in the day, and some I just had to look up because honestly, I had no idea what he was talking about. So let me explain. A depth jump is stepping off an elevated surface and then jumping out of the bottom as quickly as possible.
And we're doing those plyos, 3-4 in a row.
By plyos, he means plyometric broad jumps, stringing together 3 to 4 in a row and sticking the last one.
For a couple of sets at that 80%, working on speed, working on technique. Day two, compounding either some kind of heavy lift with our broad jumps.
One thing we haven't mentioned is Max is massively strong. He pulls from the science of training, from track and field to Olympic lifting. The dude is well researched.
So I'm like sure you guys know like the whole like post-activation potentiation.
Sure.
So that's PAP.
He incorporates lifting heavy into his jump training. Here he means doing some heavy squats or deadlifts, something like a heavy 3 reps relative to your strength.
Or if you're not doing a heavy lift, that's where maybe you don't squat, maybe you don't deadlift, whatever. I would do a slightly higher depth drop. I'm not actually going to even jump out of it. I'm just focusing on dropping off something, maybe 4 feet instead of 3 feet. Whatever, I mean, for you, I would say probably 4 feet would be a good height. Dropping down, staying like really strong in that position, just firing those muscles.
If you're not much into lifting, a depth drop is a nice substitute to potentiate the nervous system. Step off an elevated surface higher than the one you used for your depth jump, and then try to absorb the impact as quickly as possible.
And then I'm going to the broad jumps for distance.
Broad jumps are simple. From a standing position, jump as far as you can. If you're interested in knowing how far, measure from the toe at takeoff to the heel at landing.
And then that last day, I'm doing some fly 30s until I start slowing down.
Fly 30s are sprints where you hit your top end speed for 30 meters. This means you'll want to accelerate gradually for 10 to 20 meters before you hit your top end sprint. I like to use markers on the ground so I know how far I'm sprinting.
And then finishing that up with broad jumps, flying straight into verticals until really I'm tired. And that's usually going to be like 5 to 7 sets for most people.
Cool.
Broad jumps to vertical jumps are exactly what they sound like. Jump as far as you can while still having the control to be able to jump as high as you can out of it.
Yeah, and I know like a lot of people maybe are doing their mobility, they're doing like animal flow, they're doing upper body rings, whatever it is. So I know you have a lot of things to do and you could definitely do more. I feel like this is a good starting spot where you could reasonably do this with all the other stuff you've got going on.
Yeah.
Not overdo it, and then always add some repetitions or add some intensity.
Definitely, yeah, and like stay safe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Especially with like the, you know, adding height to the depth drops, like we talked about it earlier. A lot of people, that's kind of the prerequisite to that is that you know how to land from 4 feet and not hurt yourself, and then that's how we're kind of adding that extra volume and intensity in our jumping pattern.
That was a lot to take in. So if you want to follow exactly, the program is on the screen right now. Take a screenshot. We set out to make a video about jumping, but hanging out with these guys in Max's backyard, it became evident how practical and functional a lot of this stuff is.
What's really cool about this is like this stuff feels like doing animal movement stuff, like over obstacles, you know, like when you have like a more of a purpose to it. It just feels amazing.
For me, at least, my experience of my center of mass and like where I'm actually on balance and where I'm not is a part of the value that's created.
Totally though, like you see like people who are kind of more clumsy, and like I think this is a quality balance along with leg strength that can improve daily life and potentially like help longevity purposes, you know, as you get older, keeping those qualities in your body. Those are like the first to go.
All right, let's get to the fun stuff. Max proposed the idea of going to a nearby Whole Foods where there's a 8.5-foot jump that's honestly really scary. For Max and Brandon, this is chump change. Max literally has done some of the most impressive jumps in the world. I mean, this jump he does in his backyard is about 14 feet, down about 4 feet, and he lands on a tiny rail. It's maybe the most impressive athletic feat I've ever witnessed in person, and he makes it look like a walk in the park. But for us, we've never done something with this amount of consequence.
How's it look standing?
Looks big.
So sometimes for me, like if I'm, you know, kind of feeling the vertigo and like the stretch, if I just look exactly, yeah, like how Brandon just did, and I'm thinking past where I need to go.
Seeing you guys do it, it almost just makes me be like,
You totally could.
When you see it in the form, like it definitely helps.
Yeah, so we got it right here. And like, I would even mentally try and like visualize the drop in your brain as much as you can and just focus on like, okay, I'm gonna go to right there. That's all I need to do.
it feels nice, like right here. Like I'm like, it's a pretty good size for me, I think, you know. Okay, if it was a half foot smaller, that might feel a little bit better.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Give your brain like baby food before we go to the solids.
Okay, I want to be clear. Josh had jumped some 9-foot gaps earlier in the day, which is why he knew he was capable. He just had to trust his body and let go of the fear. But this stuff has some serious consequences and is not to be taken lightly.
You got it. It's on. Yes!
Big chillin', dude.
Sick.
It was easy, and I mean, like, once I saw you guys do it and commit to it, like, it wasn't even that much of a adrenaline dump, really. It was just like, all the stuff we did today helped me feel pretty calm in it, you know. I'll do it again.
Heck
Nice
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, you did a great job.
Thanks for all the help into it, guys.
Yeah,
Sure.
that was
Way to go, bro.
super good commitment.
That's not a small jump.
No.
And at height, you know.
That's a
Yeah.
good one.
I mean, I think the two big things from today for me has been like you kind of expanding on the idea of using depth jumps, plyos, this being something not like that you have to necessarily like work into your programming. That is a way to do it, but parkour kind of offers this way to get a bigger jump, get more powerful legs, be in more control while having fun with simple little obstacles or this, you know. Breaking this jump was, when we first pulled up, I looked at it and I was like, I think I'll be able to do it. And then when I stood up there and I started doing preps, I was like, I don't actually, like, this is too scary. Like, I might back out of this. And then I think Trevor having the knee issue kind of made me feel like I got to step up and do this. It's just like this process that it's like anything in life. Like, if you expect to do something the first time, you got too high of expectations. But like, to know that you'll go through a process of getting yourself to do it, like, that's pretty powerful, man.
Yeah.
Making this video was incredibly fun for us because we got to learn from one of the best in the world and deliver what we learned to you guys. If you'd like to see us meet up with someone that you think has a powerful message, please let us know who that is in the comment section. And a huge thanks to Max and Brandon for this masterclass. If you want to check out more of their work, their links are on the screen and in the description below. Definitely check out their Instagrams. You'll see some crazy stuff no one else is doing. And check out their YouTubes. Max is doing some sick stuff, producing international parkour videos that will blow your mind. And Brandon hosts his own podcast. All right, guys, until next time.
My legs are just Bambi legs now.